I appreciate y'all joining in the 2 Cents Podcast. It's my podcast. I'm your host, Nino. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out and thanks to the man upstairs for waking me up to start out and journey on another day. Please, people, click them like buttons, them subscriptions. I appreciate you. The numbers are going up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you for the subscriptions. To all my fans, listeners, and audience, thank you for continuing following me on this journey. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sunday, tomorrow, May the 11th, 2025, there's a great day. We're going to pay homage to all the mothers who are living or have transitioned to their next life. Mothers are very, very important. We wouldn't be nowhere without our mothers. Our fathers are great too, and their day is coming up. But to everybody came from a woman, whether you're a woman or a man. So mothers, I'm going to try to give you little flowers, show you appreciation, and then say thank you. Unfortunately, mine has transitioned and went on to that next life where she's in a better place. But while she was on this earth, she was a great woman. The name of my title is You Are Appreciated. I like to pay homage to the mothers. Again, the name of my title are to all the women out there. You are greatly appreciated. I like to pay homage to the mothers and Mother's Day. Expressing love and appreciation for the mothers who are all out there through gestures, emojis, and reaction. Heartfelt messages, heartfelt emojis, inclusion, writing a long letter, showing your love, making this letter be heartfelt, making a donation to the Nourish Fund, or simply sending or spending quality time and expressing your gratitude. Sending love and spending time is a big thing to mothers. You ever heard that saying, people, that it's not always about money, it's the quality time that you spend with somebody. And spending time and showing your love and paying homage and giving the mothers their flowers is a big just do. And tomorrow is their day, and they should be appreciated, welcomed with arms open, and given all the love they need with all the gratification that's given from us as they done gave to us. How to pay homage to Mother's Day. Personalized messages. Craft together a long letter expressing your love or your devotion and appreciation, sharing specific memories or expressing gratitude to their guidance or showing the right way to love and support. Your mother has been with you through thick and thin. Your father, when your father and your mother got together and they procreated you, of course, your father transported the semen to your mother, but your mother carried you them 9 months or them 40 weeks. So obviously already she has a bond closer to you than your father, because literally it was another human being inside of a human being. Your mother instantaneously had that bond with you. She went through all the heartaches. She went through the pregnancies, not feeling good, the different mood swings. Her feet were sweating, things like that. Mothers are great, and we should appreciate them. Women are this. I know women at times can be a problem, and they do a lot of things, but of course, women is the reason why a lot of us are simply the fact why we all are here. Because if a woman wouldn't have carried us that whole pregnancy and gave up on us and could have went and got an abortion and had the pregnancy terminated, then we wouldn't be here. So you have to shout out to the women. And I know a lot of women go through a lot of things, but I just want to let you know, to all the mothers out there, thank you, thank you, thank you. To my mother, though that she is gone, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because while she was on God's green earth, she did a heck of a job raising me. She always did the best she could, and she always loved me unconditionally. Acts of service. Offer to help with chores. prepare a meal, run errands, or relieve some of their daily burdens. Cook for your mother. Go to the grocery store for your mother. Make a grocery list and you go yourself for your mother while your mother stays at home. Maybe she wants to stay at home and run her soap operas. Cut the yard for your mother. Do any kind of odd job for your mother, because remember, your mother has did a lot of things for you, without any question. She always didn't feel the best. So, go cook for you. Again, go do things for your mother. Go pay her bills. Pay them with your money. Go do things for her. Help her out, because she has daily burdens. She's still a mother. Take the load off. Ease up some of the pain. And I'm not talking about the pain, just ease up some of the things she has to get done on a daily event. Or ease up some of the things that she has to come up against, because she needs help. She might not ask, because a lot of mothers have a lot of pride and they don't like to ask a lot for their kids, but you should know by this being around her what your mother needs. So help her out. Let's just say, wash her car. Do a lot of things. Go get her clothes. Go get her clothes out the cleaners. Go wash her clothes. Do a lot of stuff. It's things to do. Run errands all day. Make a whole day of this. This is what I'm going to do for my mother, because she well deserving. Experiences. Plan a special outing like a picnic, a brunch, or a visit to a park, museum, or creating lasting memories. I can remember my mother. She liked to always for me to put her in the car and ride around. She liked to just watch different landmarks of a city. She liked to see different sides of a town. She also would like to stop, get her a thing of tea, and just ride around, listen to the radio. She also would like to go sit in the park at times. She liked to just sit and conversate and talk. Again, it was just a quality time with her, She liked to see a movie now and then, but as she got older, before she eventually perished and left this earth, it got hard on her. So she would like to just go and sit around and go do things. I remember my mother always used to like to go to CC's Pizza, and we would go in there and take our time. By this time, she was in her wheelchair, but we would go in there and sit and just have a good old time. She loved eating pizza. She loved sausage and pepperoni pizza. That was one of her best things. But, experience things. Them little special outings meant a lot to my mother. Do things for your mother, because it doesn't take a lot of money to express your love for your mom. It's just, again, the quality time and showing that she is important and giving her the attention. That's a big thing. Gifts. Choose gifts that reflect her interest. Whether it's a book, a piece of jewelry, a spa day, or a subscription box. My mother liked it to get a book now and then because she liked to read. But one of the big things my mom always loved was she was a big banana pudding fan. Man, if I would go buy her some banana pudding, or get somebody would make her a banana pudding, a heaping of banana pudding, she would go crazy. She would be ecstatic. That was some of her big fun. Please, just get her some banana pudding. She would love it. Of course, she liked to also read different books. She liked to read books that had interesting stories in them, bestsellers, She liked to read novels and things like that. My mother was very interested in that. Of course, she was a big soap opera fan, so she always liked me to go get, a lot of you millennials might not remember, but Reader's Digest, because it always kind of kept up with the soap operas and things. So she would like me to go get her that. But she loved that banana pudding, man. She was a big fan of it. Me, myself, I'm not a banana pudding fan, but she would love it. Before she died, I was always interested in trying to make it. Of course, I never could pick up the hobby because I really wanted to make that for her, because that was one of her big things that she liked. But she would go crazy over banana pudding. Giving flowers to the mothers who have transitioned. Well, that comes right up. That right there, I have to check the box out, because unfortunately, my mom has passed on and transitioned on to the next life. She ended up dying or leaving this earth 4/20 of 2017. April the 20 of 2017. I never forget it. She died at 12:45, a little bit after noon. Unfortunately, her health had kind of demised and got bad, and she was beginning to deteriorate because, see, people, she was in a nursing home, and eventually she was in hospice, but she eventually died. And honor her remembrance, sharing stories, visiting grave sites, donating a Make-A-Wish fund in their name and charity. Of course, fortunately, my mother, she doesn't have a grave site because I had her cremated. But one of the things me and my son does, not only on Mother's Day, but her birthday, which is in September, we will go to like a big time supermarket and get balloons aired up, like about 4 or 5 of them. Sometimes we get her name on it, or and then we'll just let them go in her memory. It'll be like me, my son, and sometimes my grandson, but especially my son, because my mother was a big staple, or a big crutch in helping not only me out at times, but she helped in the raising of my son. Because, see, a lot of times I wasn't doing good as a father, as a man, and she would help me out. Even though I was in a lull, whether in my life, and sometimes just being immature and not stepping up to the plate, she still offered her assistance unconditionally, and not only still was a mother to me, even though I was on, but was a great grandmother to my son. Expressing gratitude, show appreciation for their sacrifices, guidance, and unconditional love. Acknowledging the impact, significance that they had on their life. My mother was at times the father and my mother, because, see, my dad wasn't around. And again, I know it's a saying, and you're going to get a knee-jerk reaction that a man needs to raise a man, or a man sometimes needs to be raising a female. A man has to be around to raise the family right. But there's some cold women out here. It's some dominant women out here. And my mother was one. My mother, again, made me the man I am. I'm not perfect, and I still have a few imperfections, but I can step up to the plate. But she did a great job of stepping up and being not only a mother, the nurturer, but at times she would even be a protector. But my mother did a great job of this, doing what she had to do to make sure that I was solid. Now, sometimes I kind of fell off the wagon, and that wasn't her fault, because, you know, people sometimes just get in a lull, and I got in a lull in my life. But my mother always showed the impact and significance of what she had unconditional love. Because even when I wouldn't do right, and even when other people would turn their back on me or wouldn't help me because I'm not doing a certain way of doing things that they want, my mother was always there for me. She never would turn me down. She always had her door open and her arms open with a smile. Family traditions. Become involved or engage in family traditions that honor mothers, such as a special meal, gift-giving ceremonies, or a gathering of loved ones. Me and my son get together, and we go and just chill and talk about my mother, you know. And when she was around, we would like to go take her out, because my mama liked to eat chicken. So we would take her to a little old food restaurant that's in a nice part of the neighborhood, and just sit down and eat chicken. And she also liked greens, and she liked the sweet potatoes, you know. While she was still here, it was a family tradition. Also, she used to love for us just to take her to the store. And by this time, she was starting to demise or deteriorate more, so she had to use a walker, you know, to walk around with. So she would love how we would just take her to the store, let her take her time, because if you know, people, when you let a woman go to the store, the worst thing you can do is rush them. And I had to learn the hard way, even though I'm impatient at times. But she would love how, for me and my son, would let her go to the store, take her time, go down each and every aisle so she can select and check every product. You know, that's what women like to do, and then just do things like that. But, you know, giving her a ceremony, you know, always just being there for her, just remembering her, and just sitting there, and after we go to the grocery store, come in, and this time she was living by herself. We would put up her groceries, we would sit down around the table, me, her, and my son, and we just talk about things. Because, you know, after a while, especially your mother, when she get kind of older, she just loves somebody to talk to, especially my mother. She loved quality time for just conversating with you. I mean, that's what one of her biggest things. If you couldn't do nothing for her, you could just come over there and conversate with her. You know, she would love that. And because she had a lot of things to still to talk about, even though she was getting older, and she had got older, and her health had begun to deteriorate, but she just needed the things to stay on her mind to keep from her getting in the lower. Because, you know, a lot of times, a lot of people, as they get older, they're gone and give up and get ready to transition because they don't have nothing active in their life. So inactivity causes some people to just go and give up. But long as we came by there, me and my son, and gave her the attention and sit down and talk to her, my mother was great. Community involvement. Volunteer to donate to organizations that support mothers and families in need, like MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, or any kind of thing that, you know, help the community and with mothers, you know, have a part in it. Because, again, a lot of the community it's all the beautiful mothers are around. Because, believe me, sometimes the communities feel like this. A lot of mothers don't work because they have, you know, they're married. So a lot of the brunt of the work is from the father. And then you have a lot of stay-home mothers. So they have a lot of community things in the community that going on. You know, it's kind of like, you know how PTA for school? So mothers have a lot of things going on in the community where they gather around, talk, get to know each other, you know, maybe make a couple of dishes, go place to place, knocking on the door, and becoming more familiar with each other. But the community involvement, they love it because they get to know each other. That's how kind of a lot of the neighborhood watches start, because it's a lot of the mothers around that trying to keep the crime, keep, you know, do-gooders out of the community. So that's a big step right there. But that's the mothers that's initiating that, because the fathers mostly are off working, providing for the family. So that's the mothers that trying to make a connection with everybody. Creating art. Consider creating a piece of art, such as a painted picture, a scrapbook, a piece of jewelry to express your appreciation. I remember me and my son wanted to paint a rock with my mother's name on it. We painted one with like my name, we painted one with his name, and we painted one with my mother's name. And the rocks all had three different sizes. Of course, the biggest rock was my mother's name on it, because even though I was a man, but she was the leader of our family, because she was the staple. She was the kickstand that held that bike together, that held everything together. So the big rock was my mother, and we colored it one color, like maybe yellow. Then the second rock was the next biggest rock was me. And then it was a certain color we colored, maybe red. And then the third rock was my son, which was a little bit smaller. And then we colored it and had his name on it. And it was a little bit smaller, so maybe it was green or blue or something like that. But we had three rocks: my mother, me, and my son. Also, we had a great scrapbook. We would keep pictures of her, you know, when she was old and younger. I mean, when she was younger, a kid and everything. And it would just show me great things, because my mother originated out of Waco. And, you know, it went back to how she looked when she was younger, you know, how decades had changed, how she looked different, how her hairstyle was when she was a young, you know, woman, until she finally got old and started getting older, and then until she finally passed on. It was a great thing. But all that, she loved it. She got a kick out of that because it expresses her appreciation. It was a great, great, great thing. In closing, R.I.P. to my mother, who passed away again April the 20th, 2017. People, it's been like almost 10 years. Actually, it's been a little bit over 8 years, but I can still remember it like it was last night. My mother definitely was a nurturer, but she had also been a protector. I remember when I was a youth and a teenager growing up, and a couple of times I got bullied. And my mother said, look here, I'm about to nip this in the bud. She came outside. She had came home from work, hard days of work. Because also, my mother worked at 2 or 3 jobs, see. My mother didn't have no car. She didn't even know how to drive. It was something about when she was young, driving was a big no-no. It was prohibited from her, and it made her real nervous, so she wouldn't drive. I used to beg her to get a car, but she would ride the bus. Now, this is how cold of a soldier my mother was, and I know a lot of you fellas and a lot of you young ladies can adapt to this. This is how your mother got down. My mother worked two jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, but she rode the bus. She would stand on bus lines or bus routes. A lot of times when I was a young adolescent going into a teenager, I would stand on the bus routes with her in the morning when I didn't have to go to school or nothing because it was cold out there. But back to when my mother protected me, she had came home from work. She came outside with that bat, and believe me, you think a man can get ferocious, and you think a man has a temper, and a man can get down with it and step up to the plate and call people to the square. My mother came out there with fire in her eyes, and she said, if either of y'all flex at my son one more time, y'all gonna have to meet this bat and meet me. And she was serious. She stood on business about that. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of these women that are raised in single parents, yeah, they nurturers, but these are tough women. They are not no cowards. They are fighters too. They're resilient, and my mother showed me that in a big way. My mother made me the man I am today. She helped me with my imperfections and sensitivities. Again, I'm not perfect, but she helped me a long way because, again, they always say a man has to raise a man, but women are raising men too, and women are raising women. A woman can at times be the man and the woman because she doesn't have no choice. You know, that's just how she is. But it's just crazy like that. Women also have them great skills. My mother and me, before she transitioned, had some of the most character challenging moments. We was low on finances. I remember I had lost my job, you know. I was in a lull. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all fellas and women, peeps out there. I had got lazy like a diesel, downright sorry. And I had gotten a lull, you know, and I didn't want to do nothing. It was like I lost my job, but I wanted another particular job, and then instead of just taking a job to get back on my feet, my mother took me in. She was older, and then and refused to let her son be out there on the streets, you know. It was some of the greatest times because this is what I'm trying to say. At that time, my mother was on supplementary income, which means she had a Social Security check and she had an SSI check. So she let me live with her. Now, while I'm going through this phase of this straight up being, this being not being a man, this being in a love, being sorry, not acting how she raised me. But she still took me in unconditionally. We was low on finances. She had enough to pay the rent. A lot of times we would even struggle to get a meal, but this is what I want to try to get at. I remember we would just live on a bag of red beans. People, you know how you go to the store and get red beans and then you cook them for a while. Sometimes you might have to cook them a whole day. And we would constantly just eat red beans through weeks and weeks. We would love that. She would pay the rent. We would eat red beans. And while I'm trying to get a job, and at that time, it was hard because I wouldn't take the job that I could go. I was trying to be particular and want a certain job. And right then and now, you know, the certain jobs were hiring me. We would eat red beans and sit down and watch sitcoms like Sanford and Son, That 70s shows, you know. I remember we became a big fan of Jerry Springer. But what I'm trying to say, we was living real tough. We was barely hanging on, but we had some of the funnest time because me and my mother, used to be in there just laughing and having fun. Even though the negativity had set on me, she always kept that positive vibe. She always like, son, keep your head up. It's going to get better. You know, the Lord has something in store. And I was steady just going against why. But my mother just kept that straight, you know, like, keep your thumbs up. It's going to come through. It's going to come through. And it was great. I'm talking about, man, we you know, it was just some of the greatest times because we weren't blessed with finances. We didn't have a lot of food. You know, it was just me and her. At times, I didn't see none of my friends or nothing because I was broke. And then I was in a lull and everything. But me and my mother just shared that common bond and became more closer and closer. Because the thing, what it was, I have to give kudos to her because she kept that positivity. Because I was negative. I was feeling like down in the dumps. Like, man, this is, I can't do better. I can't get the job I want. I can't get back on my feet like I want. But she got always instilled, baby, stay strong. God got a plan for you. See, these women that got their faith, they really have it. And that's how my mother was. Because she always told me, God a lot of times don't work right then and there. But it's coming. But them were some of the best times, man. I remember we would have that routine every day. We would get up. And she said, okay, well, it's time for such and such a show to come on. And then in the evening time, it's time for such and such a show to come on. And, hey, we lived like that for a month. Eventually, till I got back on my feet. But them were some of the best times, I'm trying to say, people. And it wasn't filled with money. It wasn't filled with going buying gifts. It wasn't filled with, you know, riding around. It just stayed basically me and my mother was against the world. But that show you how, you know, unconditional love, how faith from a woman, how a woman belief in things gonna get better, and a woman still believe in her son will finally get back on the right track and show, you know, that's how it is. That's what it's about. It's not all about material things. It's about the precious little thing and the time spent. Tomorrow, May the 11th, 2025, Mother's Day. I say this to all the females and all the males. Pay homage to your mothers because they are appreciated. Remember, you wouldn't be here without them. Love your mother. Show them. Take them out. Spend a little time with them, you know. Go do something for them. You know, go run errands for them because once they gone, you're going to miss them. My mother, again, died April the 20th, 2017, 4/20/2017, and I miss her greatly. I miss her. It still feels like it was yesterday, but I miss her. But I try to cover her. I try to continue her presence. I know she's up in heaven looking down, and I didn't always react and act accordingly while she was on this earth. But while she's up there and the man upstairs has her in a better place, I just want to try to make her proud that I should have made her more proud of while she was living, while she's in heaven. Because remember, to all the people out there, women or men, and this goes for my mother, you are a representation of your mother. I am a representation of my mother. Pay homage to Mother's Day tomorrow, May the 11th, 2025. To all the mothers, you are appreciated. 2 cents, my podcast. I'm Nino.